In the world of car restoration, some of the finest, most expensive,
wow, neato,
fastest automobiles of all time.
Whoa!
As well as some of the rustiest junkers.
And we have a problem.
Are reborn here at the Guild.
It's everything I was looking for.
And these are the restorers who turn rust into gold. Most of the Guild's business is to restore cars.
After you, madame.
Oh, thank you, sir.
But they also flip cars for profit.
You want to put as little as possible into it and find somebody to buy it, pass it on, and make money.
This is really
Oh, here we go.
pretty car.
David's business partner is Larry, and today they're checking out their next flip.
You never sat in this before, have you?
I did when I first bought it.
Did you?
Down in California.
Did it?
Yep,
Oh.
yep. Sat in it and loved it.
Larry and I are taking the Dédion Bouton, the Locomobile, down to the RM auction because we figure it's time to move those cars on. Had them for a long time to find new owners.
This is the car that, again, it was an impulse buy when it came across on the lot. I think it's a dynamite.
It's really
car.
rare for you to do impulse buying. Eh?
It is, it is.
The Locomobile Speedster was the first American car to win the Vanderbilt Cup race in 1908. An 11-lap, 415-kilometer course, George Robertson drove in a little over 4 hours with Old 16.
The Locomobile's gonna soar. There's a lot of interest in it. We'd seen a couple of months before another one go for over $300,000 that was not as good a car. Yeah, this was like, you know, the ultimate hot rod of its day.
And it could just take off for us. I mean, that's what we're hoping.
The second car going for auction is a 100-year-old French Madame.
The Dédion that's going down is 1901. You cannot believe that this is what people really drove.
And better yet, this French centenarian still moved.
The leather, the rubber mats, the paint, everything was put on by the company in 1901, and nobody had ever messed with it.
Like the Locomobile, like everything else, you don't keep it forever. Well, we're going to have 2 automobiles going to this auction that really are not your norm.
While 2 cars are on the way out, a 1966 Jaguar E-Type coupe rolls in.
Beautiful car.
Yeah.
This British beauty is an icon of the 60s.
Mind if we pop the hood?
Yeah, go for it.
And its owner is its biggest fan.
The reason I love it is because I had one when I was younger.
What a lovely sight.
Had it for 10 years and sold it to my next door neighbor. Got $2,800 for it. I thought I was doing really good. And I always wanted another Jag.
So what's the big issue, Fred?
The big issue is the carburetors. They're giving me a jerky sensation, and when it's idling, it doesn't idle real smooth, it's rough. Bringing it in for a tune-up, get the carburetors adjusted. They're running about 75%. To try and get them adjusted so it really purrs like a kitten. Like with a car like this, you want to have it right. So talked to a buddy, and he says to me, the Guild, so here's where I am.
And Chris, the Guild's new mechanic, sounds like the perfect fit for this job.
Well, it was the swinging 60s, and I didn't live too far from Chelsea, where a lot of stuff was going on. But I remember myself and some of my friends figured out with the way the E-Type Jaguar is set up, to get out is difficult. And if it's a good-looking girl in the miniskirt, you always got a glimpse of the knickers.
Now, Chris, I won't need a hammer or anything like that to tap the carbs after.
I would hope not.
Okay.
Jag's E-Type took the car world by storm when it first rolled into production in 1961.
The early ones were all good for 150, and that's very impressive in 1961. Well, the Jaguar company was in racing, and the E-Type was developed from the C and the D types, which were pure racing cars. And if you look at pictures, you can see where some of the lines came from. It's a nice, very high-spec engine. The materials it's made out of are very, very top-end materials. They're almost a race engine out of the factory.
This Jag is one of Fred's favorites, but But he has a few other prized cars in his collection.
Oh, yeah. I have pictures of my cars, but not of my grandkids or my children. These are my cars. We have 11 cars, and I try and take one out every weekend. Okay, this is a 2005 Corvette, 6-speed standard, 1972 Volkswagen convertible, 1980 Trans Am, T-top with a shaker, 1978 Excalibur. I like cars, and if something catches my eye, I buy it, or I try and buy it. My hippie bus.
That's pretty cool.
One of my favorite cars is a hippie bus. It's a 1972 Volkswagen. It's all customized, a lot of fun. Well, this is from the 70s. That's my time frame in the 70s, and I had longer hair and this and that, and I always wanted one.
I see. So this is not just a nostalgic hippie bus. This is a functional hippie bus.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Well, good. I'd love to see that.
Okay, when we come in to pick up the Jag, we'll come in with the hippie bus and show you.
Deal.
Okay.
Have I got everything I need for the airport?
Yes, it should all be in the blue file folder.
David is off for a 2-day trip to Florida.
Have a good trip, Dave.
See you later.
Bye.
He's got 2 cars up for auction in Amelia.
Oh, yeah, lots of room in here.
And it's time for David and his business partner, Larry, to find out if their gamble will pay off.
Amelia is a very attractive concours, brings in big money from all over the United States.
I mean, look at this car. This is just beautiful.
That money goes right into the auction.
This is really neat, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a pretty little car. Listen, you never lose money on a car like this, as long as you're patient.
The Ritz Hotel just reeks of money on the day of the auction.
Oh, there is loads and loads of money here.
And that's just his.
All right, you had a good one there. Good, you had a good one, okay. Today is the big day, so 2 big cars going off at 2 different times in the auction. It's gonna be a ball. I live for this. This is really what it's all about, and it's fun. And I mean, other than putting up with David, I don't know what else I could do.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to zoom in here on the Mustang.
Amelia used to be a sale where you could bring really good antique and classic cars.
Sit down. Enjoy yourself.
Now, you know, the trend seems to be Ferraris, Lamborghinis, all that kind of thing. It seems to be what's bringing in the crowds, and that's what's getting the big money.
Ferrari 360 Challenge. I'm going to open the bidding here at 55,000. Now here at 75. I can't keep up.
David and Larry came here to cash out, but it looks like a tough crowd.
82,500 then standing at 82,500 then sold.
All right, we're up.
This may be bad news for David and Larry's French turn-of-the-century classic.
Very original, 1901 Dédion Bouton.
They paid $142,000 US for it, and this auction is no reserve.
$50,000 to start me on the Dédion Bouton. 50,000 to start. Thank you, sir. 50,000.
We were sort of talked into putting our cars in at no reserve. It's a crapshoot, but it makes them a more popular item because people know they're going to be able to buy them.
55, thank you. 55,000.
55.
I said it would come. I didn't think it would. 60,000 bid here in front of me at 60,000, selling all the way. 70,000, 70,000, 75 if you like.
They don't even give it a chance. They're not giving it as much a chance.
I don't think it got a fair shake. And it's not sour grapes, just when that car rolled out, I mean, they just didn't keep it out there long.
It's going for the first time at $70,000 right here.
I mean, they came out up onto the auction block, and almost immediately, it was spun around and off it went. And honestly, I was shocked, because I know when a car's had its just time, and it just didn't look like it to me.
Come on, keep it going.
At 75,000 right here in front. 80, thank you, sir.
Better,
80,000, 80,000, and 5, doesn't it?
All right, keep going, guys.
At 100,000 then, will I have 105 from you, sir? 105,000 now, I'm selling the car right here in front of me at $105,000. Sold your car.
The results are disappointing. Larry and David come up short.
I really wanted to see that thing take off.
I thought it would have, but you have to have the bidders.
Larry originally paid too much for the Dédion, and we just didn't get back what we needed to get. You win some, you lose some. A little disappointing when your really good car doesn't have the right people in the audience.
While the Florida crowd is not interested in classics, they seem to pique this gentleman's interest at the Guild.
It's Mark France. Nice to meet you, sir. What are you interested in?
I'm interested in a classic.
Siegfried Knudsen has always dreamed of owning a timeless luxury car.
I've been involved in vintage cars all my life. In fact, I got my first car when I was 14. It was a Model T Ford.
So something nice, something beautiful, something reliable that you can ride?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm 75 years old. I'm fighting cancer, so, well, it doesn't preclude making long-range plans. At least I figure I better not wait too long to implement them. A classic car is at the top of my bucket list.
Okay.
And the Guild might have found the perfect car for him.
Actually, this baby just idles and purrs like a kitten. It does.
Just in general, drives all great.
Oh, I think you'd be happy.
This 1931 LaSalle convertible coupe is the epitome of a luxury classic.
She was a good old girl in her day.
The LaSalle marks the birth of modern automobile styling in North America. The first LaSalles were launched as Cadillac LaSalle to capitalize on the Cadillac brand name, which was already well established. Once LaSalle made a name for itself, the Cadillac moniker was dropped, but some gearheads still call it that, including Alex.
Before this, Cadillac cars were very much, horse carriage-like in their design. The Cadillac was the era of cars starting to become far more luxurious. Those Cadillacs were the kind of cars that were only driven by the very wealthy people.
I hope the guy's happy with it. I hope he gets to drive it all summer.
Wow, told you, just like a NASCAR. It'll be perfect for the owner. I think it's exactly what he's looking for. It's going to be very easy for him to drive and enjoy this summer.
They were cool.
In Florida, the tourists are at the beach. But David and Larry are at the Ritz.
Lot 129 is the 1909 Locomobile Model 30L Speedster, one of America's finest brass air chassis with dashing open-air bodywork. For the 50th anniversary of the Vanderbilt Cup.
Wow.
Neato. They're here to flip cars. The first one didn't do so well, so there's a lot riding on this 1909 Locomobile Speedster.
Still, it'd be nice to get some nice money off it.
With the Locomobile, I would be ecstatic if we got $250,000, $300,000 for it.
Let's open the bidding here at $60,000, shall we? $60,000.
I'll be happy if we do better than break even.
Open the bidding at $60,000 if you like. 40, sir, thank you. I've taken 40,000. I have 60 anywhere now. Do I have 60 anywhere now? It's a crapshoot. The car's here to be sold.
The bids on the boys' Locomobile are inching up.
85,000, thank you. 85,000, 90,000, thank you. 90,000, 95,000 closer to me. I've taken you, sir. I caught you out the corner of my eye at 100,000.
I've been on enough auctions to know that this isn't good. These bids are just grinding up really slowly, and that's not exciting.
1,000 then. I'm selling here on the aisle. It's no reserve. It's here to be sold. Then it's going for the first time. Right here on the aisle.
Seriously?
$100,000, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm selling here for the third and the last time. If we're all done, feel free to join in if you'd like in the room. 110,000. 115, thank you. 115. You got 115,000 for the first time, and 115 for the second time, for the third and last time, and $115,000 all done, all finished. Sold your car.
There's 115 grand.
115,000.
Wow. Would have liked. I always thought that car would be worth a lot more than that.
Auctioning cars is just like going to Vegas. The only thing is, you stand a lot more chance of winning at an auction, but sometimes you lose. And this time, we didn't do great.
That's going out, right? Isn't that where we're going?
It is.
That goes to the ocean.
It is.
We're going this way? I'm sort of feeling a little bit stressed.
Yeah, well, I guess we both are a bit.
At the Guild, Chris begins work on the 1966 Jag E-Type.
The real issue with the car was it was running very badly. The engine was low on power, it ran poorly, it spat back through the carburetors. The carburetor basically mixes the air and the fuel to give you the ideal mixture for the spark to ignite and to get power out of the engine.
The Jag has 3 carburetors for maximum power, so all 3 need to be tested to isolate the problem.
One thing that surprised quite a few people here was I've got a spark plug that has glass in it, so you can see the colour of the combustion inside the cylinder. And no one here has seen that. It's really useful to see what's going on inside the cylinder when the spark plug ignites the gases. Because if there's too much fuel in there, it'll spark bright orange because it's running rich. If there's not enough, it'll burn very white because it's too weak. And if it's just right, you get a lovely blue colour with maybe a little fleck of orange, and that's running just so.
The verdict?
Whatever it was looking orange. It just didn't look right.
After a disappointing performance at the Florida auction,
I think this might be it up on the left.
David is searching for his next flip. And he got a hot tip on a barn find.
You know, the art of the barn find is not about driving around in the countryside looking for barns. It's about having enough of a name, enough of a reputation that people find out who you are, what you do, and phone you.
Hey, Jim Betts.
Keith, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Started talking to Mr. Jim Betts, and he told me about this car he had, and wanted to invite David and I out to come and take a look at it.
Should be interested to see what we have back here.
I am interested, yeah.
That's a very exciting car.
My dad was a bit of a car collector, and he collected a few cars, and he left one to each of us. So he left Warren the 40 Ford convertible, he left Kenny the 33 Ford Roadster, and he left me the Humber limousine. My dad had a passion for cars. It had to have a convertible top for one. Just about every car here is a convertible.
Lifted the cover up, there's a Fiat 124 Spider. Oh, wow, I like these cars. I mean, I really do like them. They're a great little car.
Designed and manufactured by famed Italian coach builder Pininfarina, restored Fiat Spiders can easily bring in $50K at the right auction.
When I see this car, do you know the first thing that comes to my mind? Brenda. I picked up a girl at a traffic light. She was driving one of these. So we took her to the spaghetti factory, and I ended up going out with her for about a year.
So this is a little beauty. Unfortunately, I have a soft spot for these because they're just goofy looking.
In today's market, an Austin Healey 1959 bug-eyed Sprite can sell anywhere from $10,000 to $80,000.
Well, if we got that cheap enough, you know, we might be able to buy it, enjoy it, toss it, make a little money. Not a lot. I mean, if you make $3 grand on a car like that, you're doing well.
Oh, look at this. The surprises never stop here, guys.
The odd surprise.
This is great. Holy wow. And there's a 33 Ford Roadster. That's a rare car.
This granddaddy Ford will command upwards of $60,000 all day at any auction.
Is it for sale? Sure.
But there is one more car.
Got quite a barn full here.
Then you pull the cover off.
Down at the back of the barn, we get down there, there's a big old car covered by a tarp. Pull the tarp off, and there it is. It's, wow.
Oh, that's impressive, isn't it?
Look at the condition that's.
The guys grab the covers, pull it off, and there's this bloody great 48 or 49 Humber. Basically a very expensive limousine of the period.
I was about 17 years old, and my dad was doing a little bit of work on the car. So my dad sanded it down slightly, and he noticed this kind of indentation and realized that there was something special about the car.
This 1949 Humber Pullman limousine was part of a fleet of limos commissioned for King George VI tour of the Commonwealth. Princess Margaret, Canadian Prime Minister Louis Saint Laurent, and Sir Winston Churchill have all graced its seats. A special cigar lighter and ashtray was even installed in the back for Churchill.
Wow, this is a gorgeous car.
When you pull the cover back off something that's that significant, it's always fun.
I like the flag carrier on the front.
It's the history that seeps out of this car that makes it significant.
My dad got a letter back from Buckingham Palace, basically saying that this car had been the official car in Hamilton, Bermuda. Unfortunately, the letter's gone.
Oh.
So we have to try and find it.
You know what? I really want to get that letter from Buckingham Palace. Just the final cherry on the top of the cake.
Keith hasn't made quite clear to me what you actually want to do with it.
What I'm interested is find a home for it where somebody would appreciate it, because we've had it for, like I said, it's been in the family for 48 years. I'm sitting here under a tarp for 20.
First thing we got to do, we'll get it back to the guild, we'll get it cleaned up, then we have to start digging into the car's history, really pinning down the provenance and all the important parts of its existence.
How are we going to get it out of here?
Absolutely. For king and country.
All these little barns and rural buildings you see, you don't know what's dotted around there. There's treasure almost everywhere you go.
At the Guild of Automotive Restorers, the LaSalle is getting a thorough once-over.
Cat LaSalles are an incredible car. They're really overbuilt.
Yeah, everything for this car is built like a modern-day truck. But they were building cars to last forever, so.
You think that shifter's going to come down out of there?
I think so.
This old girl weighs over 2 tons.
Thank God the tall guy's doing this.
Pulling parts for an inspection is tougher than your average tune-up.
What it means for us now is we gotta bust a nut every time we try and move something on this car and do that.
Okay, I'm going to start loosening that.
Unfortunately, it's not like a modern car where a transmission comes out with 6 bolts and lays on the floor in 10 minutes. So the only way to get the transmission out to do the clutch was to remove the entire rear axle assembly and torque tube, which was a massive job. Atta girl. Unfortunately, back then, they overbuilt everything, so the car is very, very heavy for its time.
Until we take that stick out, she ain't going nowhere.
Probably weighed somewhere in the neighborhood of 6,000 pounds to 7,000 pounds, so that's equivalent to most 3/4 ton pickup trucks nowadays.
This tranny weighs as much as some of the engines.
For all this extra work, all had to come out just so we can get to this little disc inside of here. This is the clutch pressure plate, and that's the clutch disc in there. Oh, now you did it.
The rear seal's leaking for sure.
When we finally did get the clutch out and disassembled, we noticed that was definitely far past its prime and ready to be replaced.
Next, Alex and Paul attacked the brakes.
She's rusted.
And you could see that the liners at one point had worn right out and the rivets had actually gouged into the drum itself. They drove it right to the rivets and then just relined it and never turned the drums. So.
Yeah.
And that's unsafe. You're not going to have a full contact patch on that brake. All right, so this is the last drum being ready to ship out. And when they come back, everything's ready to be reassembled and get her back on her wheels and ready for the customer.
Across the shop, Chris didn't cut any corners.
I fully rebuilt all 3 carburetors because we had the 3 kits, because each carburetor needed something out of the kit. You could have probably reused some of the parts, but I didn't know how old they were, so I just put the whole kits on for best practice.
To make sure, Chris runs the glass spark test one last time.
Looking at the glass spark plug, running a nice blue colour, goes orange when you accelerate, light blue as the revs come down, which is exactly what it should do. It's now at last running as it should do.
The barn find arrives at the guild.
Oh my God, this thing's huge. Beautiful. This was a royal car used in Bermuda.
Let the winch do the rest.
Pretty cool car.
Where did it come from?
A barn, middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Wow.
You can tell it's a Brit by the front end.
At this moment, I don't know what we're going to do with this car. First, we have to figure out what the heck it's worth, and that's going to be the tough part of this job.
Keep it beautiful.
What we need to do is basically, I just want you to go from one end of the car to the other, go through its condition and everything. Let's just see how much rot in that it's got in it.
What about the running of it?
Well, let's give it a good inspection first. You know, we hired Chris because he's passionate about British cars. No brainer. Put this guy who knows so much about British cars on the ultimate British car of the period. So I put Chris on the Humber. Once we know what we've got, then we'll know how much it's worth.
Well, most of the Humbers I've been involved with have been like 60s cars because the older Humbers were just valueless in the UK, and a lot got scrapped because they're worth more as scrap than as cars.
Let's lift her up. Let's take a look. This is where your car looks good, and then you find out how bad it is. Geez, it's actually better than I thought it was.
The only time I've seen one of these before is in old newsreels with the Queen in it. It's a pleasant surprise seeing a bit of old England here. Reminds me of the England that I remember as against the one I left.
It's led a pretty charmed life, I think, and it doesn't look like it's been used much. I'm not seeing any structural damage in the bottom of the body. Chassis is just like, give it a coat of paint, it looked brand new. But I would like to see if we can get it fired up. And it's a great car. I mean, this car is not rusty. It's time-worn, no doubt about it. But, you know, with some cleaning up and a little bit of love, I think we can bring this thing back to life without messing around with it.
This black limo sure looks royal. But does she run?
We'll get some gasoline and see if it will go. For the first time for probably 30 years.
Oh, look at that, a little bit of a kick, eh?
And I looked at the wiring, and it's brittle and it's horrible. So I've wired with new wires just the starter motor and the coil.
Almost.
If you can drive it into an auction, it'll be an awful lot better than pushing it. Put it in gear and press the clutch. Let's see if the clutch is seized. So I'm starting it, and it runs.
It's not clouds of black smoke coming out the back.
And then it quits.
Well, that's not bad. A little bit of refining, but at least we know it runs.
Needs work, but it proves that it's sound. It's not rattling. It's not smoking badly. It's a fine engine.
I mean, it needs a tune-up, but I think other than that, there's nothing much wrong with that.
For something that's not been run for 30 years, that was excellent. OK, so we know the clutch works, we know the engine will work.
Good. So it's in pretty good shape. It's mechanically, it looks like it's in about as good a shape as it is the rest of the car, so it's a bit of a prize. You know, all in all, this car is looking pretty good. There's no rust in the bottom. It's structurally sound. I'm happy about it mechanically. It's cleaning up well, so I'm confident. But there's this missing letter. You know, the family had a letter issued by Buckingham Palace, and over the years, it's been misplaced. They have no idea where it is. So it'd be really nice to get that again.
Yeah, that letter would make a lot of difference, wouldn't it?
I think it would, yeah. We don't need it to prove the car's worth, but it sure would be nice to have it, just as the final edition.
Perhaps you could contact the palace and get a copy?
I suppose. I have no idea how to contact the palace.
Well, maybe you just have to go there and ask.
Oh, to England?
Why not?
Geez, what's wrong with going to England? Yeah, I'm up for that. What the heck?
David is serious about the royal limousine.
Well, thank you. You're most welcome.
Serious enough to follow its tracks all the way back to London.
Can we go to 96 Kensington, please?
Sure, no problem.
Keith worked his connections and got them a meeting with Peter Phillips, a member of the British royal family.
Peter Phillips is the first grandson of Queen Elizabeth. I worked with him at Jaguar F1 when I was here. He worked in my department, and we got along well and became friends, and we've kept in touch over the years.
If they can track down an official letter to authenticate their barn find, it will add value to the car.
But the most important thing to me right now is we're trying to get a letter from Buckingham Palace.
What? We're going to meet a member of the royal family, and that's the shirt you decide to wear.
I like the shirt.
Yeah, but we're not going to a rave, David. Driver, can you take us to Douglas Hayward's? It's on Mount Street. Thanks a lot.
Can you just wait here for a few minutes?
Thanks.
I like this look.
It's bright. We can't go meet a member of the royal family in that shirt. It just isn't going to happen.
It's sort of pink, isn't it?
That's the one, David, for sure.
I think it's very good.
Yeah? He says it for almost every shirt, though.
I know.
Perfect. And now we can burn your old shirt. Get in, Your Majesty.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
On the other side of the pond, the old girl LaSalle is getting new parts.
And we're off.
We just sent all this stuff out to be resurfaced, relined, and we just got it all back. So far, everything inside looks pretty good. Should be ready to go back in.
Weightlifting for the day.
You want a hand with that?
No, sir. I have to drop it on my toe before I need a hand. We need to get this thing done. The man his health is very poor, the owner, and he wants to drive his car. This may be his last summer to be able to drive it.
He's basically been giving a time limit on his lifespan right now, so he wants to get this car to enjoy it for his last few years or months or however long he has.
This was a lot easier to put in than it was to take the thing out, wasn't it?
Well, we know what the hell we're doing this time around.
These are the drums that we sent out to have machined. They machined this part and make them round again because they were all warped before.
Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Try and put your drum on.
And we have a problem. It won't fit. Lovely. Yours that way off too?
Yep. Two of the drums don't fit. There's too much liner material left onto the shoes, and we can't get the drums onto the car. They replaced this. This is the new friction material that they put on. They used a bonded material, and it's too thick. The drums won't slide on now. I was definitely disappointed to slow things down. I mean, everything else on the car is now done. We've just been waiting on the brakes so we can tidy it up for the customer.
Kyle, we have a problem.
What's the problem?
The brake shoes are too thick and the drums won't go on. So we have to get a hold of this guy.
Remachining the brake shoes could take weeks.
Hello.
Precious time for the car owner.
So if we ship them to you right away, then you can handle it right away because the customer needs this car bad. He's,
Okay, yeah, I think we have to figure out how much we need. I can figure it out.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, bye. We're going to ship the parts off, and they're going to do it immediately, and tomorrow we'll hopefully get this car done.
In London, England...
Driver, 96 Kensington now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
David and Keith are on a mission to authenticate their barn find.
So is his office in one of the royal buildings?
No, just an office in Kensington.
We're meeting with Peter Phillips, just a short cab ride from Buckingham Palace.
Keith has secured a private audience with Peter Phillips, a member of the royal family. He might be able to help track down a letter of provenance.
I think the best chance of getting this letter is to meet with Peter Phillips and see if we can sort of persuade him to use his connections and see where we can go. So what we've done is we've discovered a car in Ontario. It was sort of in a very rural area, and it ended up being a 1949 Humber. And these were built for King George, and unfortunately he never got the opportunity to use them. But interestingly, these are photographs taken of it when it was being used as the official car in Bermuda.
All right, Princess Margaret.
I love this photograph. Here's Churchill lighting his cigar.
Oh, fantastic.
In the early 60s, there was a letter sent from Buckingham Palace giving the authentication on the car and its provenance. The letter was misplaced at some point. So what we're trying to do now is basically get copies of that official letter from Buckingham Palace. What a letter from Buckingham Palace will do is just to basically fill in the small gaps that we have in the provenance of the car. It's just nice to have that final piece of documentation that just sort of seals the entire history.
And you want to see if I can troll through some of the archives and see if I can find a letter.
Yeah. We don't expect you to personally do it, but if you can help us.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
So we'll give it a go and see what we can dig up.
He was a great guy, and I really think that he's genuine in that he's going to do everything he can to help us.
I want to ask you something. Do you really think that this shirt is inappropriate? I mean, look at this shirt. That's a beautiful shirt.
He looks like a licorice all sort.
There were certain nightclubs you struggled to get into in that as well.
Well, he wasn't as enthusiastic about the shirt as I am, so I mean, maybe Keith had a bit of a point.
The work on the classic LaSalle has been on hold.
What do we got?
Well, it's supposed to be the brake shoes back.
Right on. We've lost, 3 or 4 days of valuable time now. So, let's hope they fit this time. I mean, everything else on the car is now done. We've just been waiting on the brakes so we can tidy it up for the customer.
Things are looking up.
Bonus.
Beauty. That'll work.
You got the drum line?
Yeah.
What a relief.
Well, the brakes are back on. Drum needed a bit of sanding to get it to go on properly and everything to line up. But yeah, it's good to go now. Button up the last few things, get it on the road. It's always a sense of relief when the car's finally ready for the road test. I mean, there's a lot of preparation, a lot of steps that have to go right before a car's ready to drive. Your side all done, Paul?
Yes, it's completed.
Fantastic.
All done?
Yeah, man, ready to roll.
Party time.
Over in the showroom,
Yeah, and the trip to England was excellent.
David catches up with the owner of the Royal Barn Find.
I got a call from Keith, and Keith told me to come in and they were going to give me an update on the car and what they thought the value was and probably the best way to market it.
We got lots of information on the car, and we had a great meeting with Peter Phillips, who was kind enough to meet with us about the letter.
We took a good kick at the can getting a letter from Buckingham Palace, but it hasn't worked out. We haven't struck gold. We haven't got the letter.
Turned out that because there was no exact date, they had an issue trying to pin it down.
I'm a little disappointed, but I completely understand it because the family doesn't have the actual date the original letter was written on. So we only have a 5 or 6 year period, and evidently for 5 or 6 years, the Buckingham Palace gets lots of letters.
It'd be really nice to have the letter. It's a shame that you lost it, and it'd be nice to get it back because it's its own reward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mom would be pretty pleased if we got the letter back.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We've got photographs, we've got serial numbers, we have everything we need to authenticate the car.
What do you think the value of the car is?
To be honest, probably $8,000 to $15,000.
Yeah. Wouldn't even think of letting it go for at least double the 15, you know what I mean? So it would stay in the family if that's the value of it.
But I think that you can add a considerable sum on top of that because it isn't that. It's a historical artifact. It's not just an old car. So, I think that really you're probably looking $25,000 to $40,000, and I don't know where to set it. I'd say it's safer to start at 40 and, I mean, you're not going to get rich with it, but, look at it. You got it. It's yours.
Yeah. How many cars were made for King George VI that, of the 6, how many are left? I mean, it's a pretty unique vehicle, I think.
If you really want to get serious about marketing this is the kind of thing that maybe you take to the right auction.
Right.
At the end of the day, the car is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, and the people who are going to be willing to pay for this are going to be the people who want this car because Churchill sat back there.
Exactly.
I think that's the most important part of the car.
All right, well, thank you very much.
You're very
Appreciate
welcome.
that. Thanks a lot.
Okay, then.
Outside, the 1966 Jag E-Type is waiting for its owner after its carburetors were replaced. It's Chris's first project at the Guild.
I got the job on the Jaguar, not as some people have suggested because of my accent, but because I grew up with the cars, I've run the cars myself, and I've got a lot of experience with them.
Holy cow. Jesus, that ever looked nice. The Guild called and they said the Jag is all ready, so I called my 2 friends and asked them if they wanted to come up to the Guild with me to pick up the Jag. Now to see if it sounds as good as it looks. Whoa!
Sounding better now?
It sure is. You did a heck of a job.
Thank you. Purring. Customers seem very happy, and I'm pleased with it.
Fantastic. Couldn't ask for anything better, except my wife.
With a happy customer, you get a happy boss.
Tell me about this thing.
This, my hippie bus. A lot of fun. We enjoy it very much. It's just a great attention getter. It's something that you don't see on the road every day. We drive it a fair amount of the time.
Really?
Because it's got the 6 seats in it. We can take passengers. And I said to myself, I gotta have it.
Uh-huh.
Well, the hippie van is quite a contrast to the E-Type Jaguar. I had one, similar year. Wasn't anywhere as good a condition as that, but I went around Europe a bit in it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Fred.
I'll drive the van. Fred's gonna drive the Jag.
I'm riding shotgun.
Okay, take care. Thank you very much.
The old girl LaSalle is ready for pickup. Ralph shines it up for the handoff.
The owner is coming to pick this car up, so make it look all nice and pretty for him. My sister, a dental hygienist, she suggested that I use the toothbrush instead for using it on cars such as this, and I thought, man, that's a good idea. I should try that. I really take pride in my work. It is really worth it when you stand back and see the fruits of your labor. Beautiful.
Come on through here. Let me just show you. So this is her.
It's the moment everyone's been waiting for.
I love the way they, you know, the yellow and the white with the chrome and black and the red.
Magnificent. I thought I might need a lot more restoration. It's turned out perfect. It's everything I was looking for.
His jaw dropped when he saw it. It was the first time that he saw it with his daughter-in-law and his granddaughter. You could feel the beaming coming off of his body. This is Alex. Alex, this is Mr. Siegfried Knudsen.
How are you?
This is the owner of the vehicle.
Wow, cool.
Alex spent some time on the vehicle, and he was the only one that was allowed to drive it.
Oh. I'm blown away that he's that happy with it. Anytime you hear a story like this and you see somebody who's this enthusiastic about cars, you really start to pull for somebody like that.
It is everything that I wanted.
Great. No, I'm glad to hear that. We really put as much effort as we could into his car to make it perfect for him.
What a wonderful car.
It's a 1931. It's a convertible coupe. It has the wire wheels and side mounts. It even has the white wall tires.
Fits you like a glove.
You want to go get in the car with Grandpa? Does Grandpa look happy? Yeah.
My granddaughter thought it's pretty magnificent, too. Shall we go for a drive?
He had a dream. He came to us and asked us to fulfill his dream. And for us, that's the greatest payoff. That's why we're here.
Go for a ride. Yep.
This is classy. This is a licorice all sort. I like licorice all sort. Well, so do I, to eat, but not to wear to meet a member of the royal family.
Not a word. I was quite happy with my other shirt. Look at that. That tree would have gone with my shirt.